Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday, and welcome to the Dropback live stream hosted by the dudes at Brit Ballin. I'm your host, Matt, today, and we're joined by Stan Wilson and Sam Lewis. How's it going, fellas?
Going good, Matt. Good to do it again.
Yeah, excited to be back on here. Invited back for a second show, which is always a good sign.
Exactly. It means we didn't stink the first time. Always a good sign, dudes. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about today, guys. We're going to jump straight in with what we teased on the podcast earlier this week. The whole Aaron Rodgers saga. So for anyone that doesn't know, anybody's been living under a rock for the last week. Last week, Adam Schefter dropped an absolute news bomb on the NFL, saying that Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. Wasn't really one isolated incident. It was sort of like a collection of lots of things that have happened during his time at Green Bay, especially over the last few seasons. The Jordan Love pick, he obviously wasn't thrilled about, not being told about that beforehand. The very latest rumblings coming through is that Aaron Rodgers straight up called GM Gutekunst a bit of a Jerry Krause character in a group chat, allegedly. And also, if you've got a long memory, you might remember Aaron Rodgers being particularly fond of Jake Kummerow last off-season. Packers responded by swiftly releasing the guy pretty much a day later, which Aaron Rodgers was not a big fan of. So, a lot of goings on around this topic, guys. How are we feeling about it?
It's a very interesting one, and you can look at it from two perspectives. You can look at it from the way of that Aaron Rodgers is being like a prima donna diva. He wants the spotlight, and he's being a bit of a drama queen, essentially. Or you can look at it from the spotlight of he's an MVP caliber quarterback. They drafted his replacement, and they've done nothing to really support him over the past few years in terms of drafting. And the whole Jake Kummerow situation is a bit ridiculous, if you ask me too.
Well, yeah, you mentioned the drafting his replacement. I think that's even bigger an issue when you say this year they told Brady that they would be drafting Kyle Trask. They told, was it the Bears? They told us they'd bring Justin Fields in as well.
Yeah, they told Dalton. They gave Dalton a little ring.
Kirk Cousins was told, look, if Justin Fields is here, we're going to take him there. So all these guys give their quarterbacks, the smallest amount of respect. Just give them a little bit of a heads up. And the fact that Jordan Love is the first round offensive skill position drafted by the Packers since Aaron Rodgers. So all of that is done.
Crazy.
It says a lot, really, doesn't it? It says a lot about the franchise and how much they've done to really support what some would say is the best QB, the most skilled QB of all time. So,
well, that's the thing as well. It's like Rodgers coming off an MVP year, obviously last season, absolutely balled out. It kind of felt like, especially this season, it was like, I mean, we say it every year, right? But like, surround the dude with weapons, man. He's just come off another MVP year. He's been amazing. Like, that Packers roster looks like it could be there or thereabouts. It just needs a bit of an injection of talent around your amazing quarterback.
Well, I think it's there or thereabouts as long as you have Aaron Rodgers there. If Aaron Rodgers isn't there, Jordan Love is not elevating that roster to championship level.
No, he's not. You're right there.
I mean, going back, obviously, we know now that the Jordan Love pick wasn't the be-all and end-all in terms of sort of the death note of this relationship. But, I mean, how much of a role do you think that played? How much do you reckon that pissed Rodgers off?
It's got to play a huge role, doesn't it? I mean, just the lack of courtesy for even telling them, look, we think you're coming to the end of your career. We still think you're our first choice guy, but we need to plan for the future. We can't put all of our hopes on you forever. There is a future to this franchise without Aaron Rodgers. But
it's outrageous. I think it's absolutely outrageous. The fact that he's not even particularly old. If Brady was that age and the Patriots spent a first-round pick on his replacement, people would be outraged, as they were
like
with the
Rodgers. Picked a second-round pick on Jimmy Garoppolo when he got a bit moody about that.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. There you go. Like, I mean, it's not as big as a first-round pick, but it's still a high pick.
It's still big.
Yeah, exactly.
And they didn't trade up to get him.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned the nail in the coffin, the Jake Kummerow thing. I don't think it's...
That can't be the nail in the coffin.
I don't think I think it's more what it stands for rather than, he thought Jake Kummerow was the guy. But it's like, if he goes on radio and then the very next day that he says a guy that is a valuable player is cut, it makes him look a little bit like a mug. So the whole team's just like, give him a little bit of warning of that. And it seems weird that this franchise guy isn't given a little bit of input into decision makings, especially as like, We mentioned on the podcast last week how much receiver and quarterback chemistry is a thing. If he thinks this is a guy that he has good chemistry with, why are you then cutting him straight away? It seems like chopping out his legs from under him.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a bit the whole Jake Kumro situation is being a little bit overblown here, considering he wasn't even a starting receiver on that team. If he was one of the top
Rodgers
3 guys,
him.
I know, but it's really weird for me. Like, at least,
yeah,
it's a backup receiver. Like, sure, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth if you went out in public on the media and said you liked him, but can it really be that much of an issue? I'm not sold.
I think it's what it stands for more than it is Jake Kumro.
Yeah. It's the symbolism of it.
Exactly. And then, like you said, this Jerry Krause similarly put in the group chat. First of all, shouldn't be sharing stuff that's put in the group chat, whichever anonymous Packers player that was.
Yeah, not cool.
But yeah, I get it. It's like this Gunther guy clearly thinks that he is responsible for building this Packers team rather than Aaron Rodgers for elevating the talent around him. So
yeah,
what do you think is actually going to happen here?
See, what interests me is that despite there are a lot of heavy rumors about him leaving and being traded elsewhere. Obviously, in the media, we've heard about him telling like free agents, "Oh, I'm going to be leaving." By the way, so those players being players like Bakhtiari, Adam, and Aaron Jones, who have just decided to re-sign with the Packers. If they were convinced that this was going to be an issue and that he was going to leave, would they bother re-signing to play for Jordan Love?
So
I know Aaron Rodgers. They both got pretty big contract offers.
Yeah, true. They got paid, but that's a good point, Stan. Like, do you reckon that maybe the insiders in the Packers organization are like, it sucks. Like, there's some tension here, but they can work it out. Or do we think that it's going to be something where it's like, nah, we're done. I don't want to see you ever again.
I could see this is the sort of situation that does actually get brushed under the carpet in about like a month's time, and everyone just sort of forgets about it. We'll look back on it next year like, do you remember we all thought Aaron Rodgers was going to get traded?
Yeah. So is that where you see this going? Then I was going to ask you guys, like, do you see A-Rod starting in Green Bay this season? Or are we going to see him in a different uniform? Are we going to see him on Jeopardy? Where's he going to be?
I really can't see him playing anywhere else other than Green Bay, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I mean,
I would agree with you, but wasn't this all this noise we were hearing about Tom Brady as well when they had their brush up?
Yeah, that's true.
It was like, there's no way he doesn't re-sign. He will definitely be there next year.
Hey, I called that.
Super Bowl's in Tampa.
I called that in an article. I called the move to Tampa before it happened.
Yeah, I don't know. You did actually call that, but your calls since that have been pretty iffy. But the thing with Aaron Rodgers is, the rumors are that he says he'll retire if he doesn't get what he wants, which is apparently either Gunther's gone or him going elsewhere. I don't know, from a guy that is continuously saying that he wants to play to his mid-40s over the last couple of years, that he feels great. I can't see that happening.
Yeah, it's a weird situation to retire in as well. It's like I'm basically retiring out of spite for this dude. Like, I don't see Aaron Rodgers as someone who would let someone else have that sort of impact on him.
He wouldn't retire. He'd go to another team with a chip on his shoulder, and he would do something similar to what Tom Brady's done this year.
Spite Super Bowl.
A spike bowl.
Spike Super Bowl. That's the play. That's the play. But yeah, I mean, I was going to say as well, like, how much do you think the whole Tom Brady fallout from last season and what he's been able to do in Tampa this season plays a part? Because I mean, you talk about polar opposites. Like, obviously, Jake Kumro was not the be-all and end-all, but A-Rod says he likes a guy, and then the next day he's gone. Whereas Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay, and they're like, "Open up the checkbook. Who do you want, Tom? We're getting the gang back together. Get Gronk in here. Get Antonio Brown in here."
Take away those two guys. Those two players weren't massive factors. I think the difference with Tampa is they were in a unique situation in the fact that they were one QB away. Like, even with Winston the year before, they managed to put up some ridiculous numbers. It was just obviously the minor issue of his interceptions that sort of wreaked havoc to their season a bit there. But yeah,
so is that because then you don't think that there is a team that is one QB away?
I don't think so. No, you could look at Denver, but I think they're more than a QB away in my eyes.
Do you reckon? Because I mean, obviously, a lot of the rumblings around, obviously, when the news broke on draft day, was either the 49ers, because apparently 49ers did their due diligence and jumped on the phone. Apparently it wasn't happening, but they gave it a go. And the other play was apparently Denver. Apparently Rodgers was pretty interested in Denver. It's interesting you say they're not a QB away, Stan, because I think imagine if he did go to Denver and look at that offense then, because that's a pretty tasty offense as it is when you've got Drew Lock flinging the footy.
Defensively is where I worry about them like moreover. Because on offense, I do agree they've got great weapons. You've got guys like Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant. I'm a massive fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, who do we have here in the waiting room?
Hey, speaking of people we're a big fan of, I think we might have Joe Costanza in the house. There he is.
Hello.
Joe Costanza, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going, Joey?
Do I sound good? I haven't really tested.
Never do.
You sound terrible every
Joe,
week.
you sound fantastic.
You're here and that's what matters. We're talking Aaron Rodgers, Joey.
I know.
Just
I've
talking
been
about.
mate. Been listening.
I love it. Love it. Yeah, just talking about if A-Rod went to the Broncos, as was rumored for a little bit on draft night. Like,
I don't know
that's
so
a
much
pretty good
about
offense.
The Broncos. Also, like, this whole situation is a bit weird to me because all Aaron Rodgers has even said about it is that he's sorry that anything got out.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, where we're hearing all these rumors and mutters and leaked group chats, I don't know how
if they're real.
How much we can actually take them as fact.
Yeah.
It seems like we're taking
That's
everything
fair.
as fact at the moment. Where
So you're calling Adam Schefter into disrepute now? That's what's going on.
Shefty a liar?
I'm saying, Adam Schefter, generally speaking, has.
I'm more of a rap sheet man myself.
Respect that.
I just feel like I don't know. It's all just convenient timing, really. Like this happened.
It's very
before the draft.
So inconvenient timing, being right on the draft. Surely convenient timing for Rodgers would have been at the beginning of free agency, so that a trade could have got sorted out. No one's going to make that big trade straight away on draft night. Everyone's got their draft plans in.
It won't happen.
Exactly.
We were all muttering and rumoring just before the draft that, what if he went to the 49ers? We could see that happening. What's going on there? But
I was just going to say, if you guys had missed it today as well, Schefter did come out and sort of shed a bit more light on the situation in terms of when he broke the news on Thursday, because there was a lot of rumblings that it was maybe it was Aaron Rodgers' camp trying to leak it out, which didn't give him the best looks. There are other people saying it's from the Green Bay Packers, but Schefter basically came out and said, "We knew that something was up for a while, and I just decided to drop it on draft night,"
which is funny.
That's quite cool. I respect that from Schefter. You've
got to give him a clap, but it did sort of open a can of worms.
Appreciating that anytime soon.
I think this is a good point in the comments between the difference with the Brady and Rodgers situation. That when does Rodgers' contract end? Brady was lucky that his contract was ending, is able to just sign. He does have 3 years left on his contract, although
there's a pretty easy out in 2021.
Exactly. After this next season, the likelihood is he'll be cut because that's when they're out, especially in terms of dead cap. You
can't cut Aaron Rodgers. You can't cut him.
But think about it. If he played the remainder of his contract at the moment, they would have 1 year with Love.
Yeah,
pretty much. And
that's provided they took their
that's with the 5th year option. So the 5th year option would have to be taken for them to get 1 year out of their QB that they've been grooming for 4 years at that point.
Whichever way you cut it, that Love pick looks bad, man. I mean, I think that's an expensive 5th year option for a dude you haven't seen play.
Yeah, I think that what will happen with Love is similar to what we saw with Jimmy Garoppolo, and the fact he'll eventually get traded off because he realised, hang on a sec, Rodgers isn't going anywhere and he's still elite. Let's ship him off, get some draft capital, and just admit we were wrong, which they were.
I think the difference is in that situation that the Patriots almost got a bit lucky that Brady got suspended for 4 games, so they actually got to see a bit of Jimmy Garoppolo. How much you going to get? How much you going to get for a guy that sat on the bench and hasn't actually played at all?
Yeah, you can't put Jordan Love in the shop window. No one's going to buy that. They haven't seen him do anything. That's a tough sell. You got a second for Jimmy Garoppolo. Like they got their value back for Jimmy Garoppolo essentially with the 2nd round pick they spent. You telling me someone's going to give up a 1st for Jordan Love if they haven't seen him throw the football? No way.
I mean,
so you're making a loss either way.
We'll get to see him in pre-season this year. I mean, if they can make if they can make a pre-season highlight montage and just post it around all the NFL teams and see if anyone wants to buy him, then that's the best bet they have, I think.
Got to get Just Bombs on it. Just Bomb Productions.
Just Bombs.
Put a little Jordan Love tape together.
He probably has a Jordan Love tape of college stuff.
Hey man, he's got tape on everybody. That guy works hard. But yeah, so I mean, I'll ask you, Joey. I'll ask these two. Aaron Rodgers, do you see him staying in Green Bay this season? Do you see him starting the season in Green Bay?
He's either going to stay or retire. I don't think he gets traded.
Wow.
No trade whatsoever.
You think he'd retire?
I think he would, yeah. I think that's been up in the air. And obviously, I don't know so much about, he's going to leave to go be the permanent host of Jeopardy, because that just seems like a...
I think that's a fun play.
Yeah, but also, like, I'm pretty sure the whole idea of this Jeopardy thing is that they're just going to keep rolling on new celebrity hosts every week. But regardless of that, how good a host he was of Jeopardy, I honestly think Aaron Rodgers is a smart guy. He seems like a pretty chill dude. I think he intended to live out his career in Green Bay, and obviously it might have ended on a sour note. But given, I don't see them trading him. I think
you can't see him in another uniform.
Yeah,
it would be really weird.
Unless there's some sort of thing where he just sits out next season, just takes as many fines as they can give him, just so they can.
He won't do that. He won't do that.
Trade him in 2021. But when you look at it from Aaron Rodgers' perspective, it's like they drafted Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers the next season bet on himself and completely won. He's not an idiot. He knows that they've gotten out in 2021, so he wants to be traded before then. He's just come off an MVP season, and if he doesn't get traded, then I could probably see him retiring.
I don't know.
I don't see Green Bay trading him at this
he
point.
won't
It
retire.
doesn't make any sense for his contract. They're going to have to pay a boatload in dead cap just to trade him this season.
They won't trade him. They won't trade him, and he won't retire. He's still got years left in the league. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah.
Do you think he's too old to get basically a decent level of compensation, or the Packers to get a decent level of compensation if they were to trade him? Because no one's going to trade like multiple first. Yeah, but all right. So basically, you have to think you're going to win a Super Bowl, or that he's going to play for another 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, there's plenty of teams that would be, one QB away from being contenders.
Who do you think's the team? The Colts.
Yeah, I don't even.
They just traded for Carson Wentz.
Don't give a shit. If you can get
Carson Wentz got no backbone.
Why would you not get Aaron Rodgers? It doesn't make any sense. Plus,
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what is you said you don't think there'll be a team willing to give up multiple ones for him, Slew. What is Aaron Rodgers' trade value right now, do you think? Because I think you've got to give up a lot for him. You've still got potentially 6 years of around MVP level play potentially.
Oh, if you think you can get another 4 or 5 years, then you give up what you would for any level quarterback. It's just he's 38. There's already rumors around. Joe's already saying that he's flirting with retirement if he doesn't get his way. So you've got to be sure that he wants to go to your team anyway, which are the teams he put out were Denver, was it Washington and Oakland were the teams he's linked with at the moment.
Yeah.
Oakland won't move on from Carr.
Trade. I don't think it'll ever happen with Oakland.
Joe, sort your mic out, man.
You get that. You get yourself near that mic now, young man. There we go. There he is.
Is that better?
Yes, it is. Excellent.
That's good. Loud and clear.
I can't plug my HDMI in. It's very sad.
It's very sad. Absolutely.
Yeah, Oakland always seem to be rumored with a QB, but I don't see them actually taking one or trading up.
Doesn't that say something though that who have they had a chance to get? Is there anyone that you could get better than Aaron Rodgers? If you go to trade, you may as well trade for the best.
Patrick Mahomes.
Derek Carr's not bad.
Derek Carr isn't bad. No, I'd stay with him.
Derek Carr can do some things. People forget about that Derek Carr year when he was outrageous and then destroyed.
I think Derek Carr's fine, but he just doesn't elevate a team in the same way. Like he'll do a job for you.
I ain't saying that, but I think Derek Carr's all right. I think the Raiders got enough problems to worry about before they start trying to get someone in for old Derek Carr. They need to sort out their safety room, big time.
Their safety room is sorted out. Their safety room sorted out. Like some of those guys, they're going to play like hybrid linebackers.
Tell you what, why don't you ship about 4 safeties and a couple of firsts to Green Bay?
Because nobody needs 4 safeties, man. It's outrageous.
They've already got enough safety. They've got Amos and Savage, haven't they?
That's true. To be fair,
Jeff Heath still knocking around up in the Raiders as well.
To Washington win a Super Bowl if they get Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh, because that defense is good. That defense.
The offense isn't shabby either. The offense is not shabby. They've got a decent receiving core now as well. They got McLaurin at 1 and Diami Brown at 2. They got the running game's a bit worrisome. Curtis Samuel as well. There you go.
Antonio Gibson was great last year.
Yeah, Gibson.
Sorry, completely mind blanked. I was only thinking of Adrian Peterson there. Completely mind blanked.
Is Adrian Peterson even on a team right now?
No.
Yeah.
I love it. I love a bit of Adrian Peterson. I'd love to see him back at the Cardinals again.
I miss vintage Adrian Peterson where he didn't have the. Where he just ran with his helmet down, just
speared people. Reckless man. It was good. It was good. Yeah, but I mean, so outside of Denver, obviously, like Denver's been linked with Aaron Rodgers from the word go. Really, are there any other teams that like genuinely you could see making a play, or like, I just think the price might be too steep for what you.
Washington would be the only other team that Stan thinks is actually a contender, even with Ryan Fitzpatrick under center. So
Ryan Fitzpatrick can throw.
Can I justify my argument here first?
You go for it.
Right. So my argument behind Washington being a contender is not because they're a ridiculous football powerhouse, but because they're in a weak division and they have they're a decent football team. Like they will probably win 10 games this season.
Yeah.
But they'll be like they'll be a 10-7 team. That sounds so disgusting to say, but
10-7. Doesn't have a ring to it, does it?
About that. Jesus.
I'm not about it either. But they're in a weak division. Like the Eagles aren't going to be in contention this year. The Giants are weak. The Cowboys should, in theory, win that division. So I would expect the football team to get in on a wild card spot to playoffs. So technically, that does make them a contender. And yeah, then if you add Aaron Rodgers to that as well, they can make the championship round.
Yeah, there's no one else I'm looking at it being like,
it
doesn't have a QB in place.
I saw a few people knocking around like potential like made up trade packages that teams would have to do. I saw someone doing a Dolphins one where you send Tua to the Packers and a bunch of other stuff. But like, it's just not going to happen, is it? Did that make you angry? Not gonna lie. Doesn't take much, but that did. What if
the Steelers binned off Big Ben and brought Aaron in?
Whoa.
That's the only other one looking at the teams. That'd be like, realistically, we don't have a quarterback. If we did have a quarterback, we'd actually be contenders. They won 13 games last year without throwing the ball further than 5 yards downfield.
Yeah. To be fair.
Yeah, that's true. Mental.
Damn. I didn't even think of the Steelers.
No one.
But I mean, no one thinks of the Steelers. I don't think. But if you're Green Bay, right, and Steelers come in like, we'll take A-Rod, we'll give you Big Ben and a bunch of other stuff. Like,
I don't think they'd want Big Ben back.
That's what I mean.
They wouldn't want Big Ben. The Steelers would have to cut Big Ben.
No one's going to want Big Ben.
Nobody wants Big Ben. No offense to him, he's good
outside of Pittsburgh.
Big Ben's the sort of player that the Chicago Bears would have taken a stab at if they hadn't drafted Fields.
Yes,
he's that sort of guy.
Yes. I could so see that as well. That's such a naggy move. Right. Okay. Well, we'll leave the Aaron Rodgers talk there. That's a situation that's sort of constantly changing as well. So I dare say by the time our podcast rolls around next Tuesday, we'll have some more stuff for you to get into as well on that one.
Could all be horseshit as well. You never know.
Could all be horseshit, Joey. That's a good point.
Yeah,
that is a good
point. We'll
point.
be sitting here next season, and Aaron Rodgers is playing at an MVP.
Rinse, repeat.
Again at the Packers. So.
Yeah, I can see that. Right, let's move on then. Let's talk about our post-draft contenders. We're talking about the teams that went from sort of okay, and then the moves that they've done over draft weekend have put them into that conversation of like, okay, we could have a problem here. This team could be going deep into the playoffs. Who have we got, guys? Who wants to go first?
Well, Joe's the only one that I don't know because he didn't turn up for the pre-meeting. So
yeah, the production.
Let's see if he actually brought one.
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah.
So rude. Okay, I've got the Patriots as my post.
Oh, fuck you, Joe.
Oh, that's disgusting. That's disgusting.
Mostly just to piss off Matt, to be honest.
All right, let's hear it. Come on.
My main thing. Obviously, so Mac Jones fell to them at number 15 in the draft. Couldn't have fallen to. I mean, everyone could foresee this happening, and unfortunately, it did. And I don't like this either. you know.
As a football fan.
Yeah.
I went through many years of being an early Baltimore Ravens fan, just losing in the AFC Championship game every year. Yeah, I've had loads of terrible memories of the Patriots, but we all saw the dismantling of the Patriots over the past 2 seasons and what they had last season in Cam. I think Mac Jones is definitely the answer there, to be honest.
Whoa.
What he lacks.
Oh, come on, Matt. That's not an outrageous statement to make.
I mean, I'm going to let Joe finish, but I don't like that one bit.
Just because the Patriots took it. That is like the only reason you'd be annoyed. Well, what he lacks for an arm talent, which, yeah, he's not the most talented quarterback in terms of arm in the draft by any means, but he definitely makes up for it in just how well he processes the field. I think he's definitely going to end up starting at some point this year. I mean, Cam's probably the start of week 1, but we see this pretty much every season with rookie QBs coming in mid-season and having a bit of a run. So I can imagine that happening. I was a bit surprised that they didn't go receiver very early on. They left it a bit late to take a receiver. That was obviously one of the big stinging points for the Patriots over the last couple of seasons, and obviously losing Julian Edelman to retirement. You'd think they would address that earlier on, but I was pretty happy with their. Do you want to have a go at me for the Mac Jones pick before I go?
No, I mean, to be fair for the receiver, they sort of addressed that in free agency somewhat. They brought in 4 new starters if you include tight ends. So it'd been a bit strange if they'd gone receiver early.
That is true. Hunter Henry and Smith at tight end as well.
Old Stone Hands Aguilar. He's in the house.
Aguilar had a very good season last year.
Oh, here we go.
He had a decent season last year.
He did have a good season. Like, as much as I hate to admit it, he did learn to catch the old football.
Aguilar catches a few slants and he's the guy. Okay.
No, Aguilar catches a few deep balls and then just drops absolute sitters on a daily basis. But, last season he did good by Aguilar standards. I can imagine at the Patriots, he's probably going to be receiving.
This is so harsh on Aguilar. He actually played really well in the Super Bowl winning season. It's just so unnecessarily harsh. He may be a little bit dropsy at time, but he had a really good 2017.
In all seriousness, he's a good receiver. He has had a rough time since becoming a meme. Basically, is what it is. But he's a good receiver. I like that.
But wait,
for the Patriots.
Mac
Jones.
Why don't you like Mac Jones? People were talking about him going 3, and he fell to the Patriots at 15.
Yeah, but I think that was all just a joke. Now looking back on it,
wasn't it?
I don't think it was a joke. I believe apparently Shanahan wanted Mac Jones. He was torn between Shanahan was torn between Mac Jones and Trey Lance, but the scouting department favoured Trey Lance because of the upside, and that's how the decision was made. It wouldn't have surprised me at all. Like still looking back, if Mac Jones had gone 3 because of what Shanahan looks for in a QB.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have surprised me, but I don't think he was worthy of going number 3. The thing with Mac Jones is I don't know. It's probably just partly my bias because I don't like the Patriots or anything they do. It just strikes me as quite a boring, safe QB. I think was the other thing. Like we had a bunch of guys there with unreal upside. When you think of Lawrence, you think of Fields, you think of Lance, and then you just kind of got this dude who's like, I'm going to be okay for a while.
But to be fair, do they need anything more than okay? Do they not see someone to get a few drives and the defense will do most of the work for them?
Yeah, that's true.
It's just a dink and dunk offense. That's how they did it with Brady. He just killed teams underneath.
Stan. You're the whole Mac Jones is Tom Brady hype train again now.
No, I'm not. I'm not likening Mac Jones to Tom Brady just because they're slow QBs who like to throw underneath.
By the way, are you guys buying in anything to the whole the draft day video of Bill Belichick and the guys not looking too pleased with the whole Mac Jones thing? Like, if you contrast that with, I know Dan Campbell's a very different dude.
You talk about the pro day.
No, I'm talking about the footage that emerged of the war room after they drafted Mac Jones. And everyone's just kind of stand there like, cool.
I think Bill Belichick just doesn't really have that pumped up.
He's a calm dude, to be fair.
This is Bill Belichick. I really wouldn't read into it.
I think like the only time he actually gets like happy is when he wins another Super Bowl. That's like the only time he actually.
That's when he cracks a smile. Everything else is like.
You saw him in the draft last year. He was literally just his dog was sitting on there most of the time. So
hey, his dog did a good job.
Yeah,
Well done, I thought.
Good boy.
Dog
anyway,
did a hell of a job.
moving on from Mac Jones, in the draft, they also got Christian Barmore, who a lot of people had as a first-round talent. They got him in the second.
That was a steal.
Yeah, it's still great value in the second round. I mean, he's the best pass rushing specialist, interior defensive lineman in this draft. Bill Belichick will use him extremely well in that regard. He's going to get a fair amount of sacks. He's going to make plays. Yeah, he might be an issue in the run game, but they have loads of defensive linemen to, cycle in for the run game anyway. Moving on to round 3, they got Ronnie Perkins, another potential first-round talent. Some people had him touted at. Maybe a bit of a reach to call him a first round, maybe early second round, but they got him in the third. I'm unsure where he fits, with Judon, Van Noy.
It's a rotational piece, isn't he?
Winovich. Yeah, but he's still a great developmental guy who can come in on a rotation and produce early on.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, and then they did get some playmakers. They got Ramondre Stevenson from Oklahoma, running back, big fucking guy, 230-pound dude.
He's massive. He's like a bus.
He is. So you can tell, Bill loves his, change of pace running backs, and now they've got a big physical guy. And I don't think they've really had someone like that since probably LeGarrette Blount, if I can remember.
I mean, Rex Burkhead sort of played that role, didn't he?
He's not like a 230-pound power back. He's more of a receiving back.
He's bigger than you'd think. Rex Burkhead.
I'm not saying Burkhead's small, but he's not that dude. He's not a fridge.
You can't move a fridge.
Can't move a fridge, Stan.
Yeah. What if the fridge is moving at you? Then it's even harder to stop.
That's very true.
Exactly. So I like that. Also, moving on just to the 6th round, they got great value in Joshua Bledsoe as well, from a safety from Missouri. He played all over the field. He's listed as a safety, but he played slot corner, outside corner, box safety, and he's just an absolute tool that they can kind of fit wherever they want. So I think that was really great value there. William Sherman from Colorado in the 6th as well is a guy.
Cam McGrone.
Cam McGrone. The Michigan linebacker. I completely forgot about him. But he was a lot of people had him as a sleeper in this draft, didn't they? I'll be honest, haven't watched that much Cam McGrone.
No, Cam McGrone's great.
Watch much Cam McGrone?
No, I can understand why. Like he didn't play much of the last season due to injury. Like his last real season was it was the 2019 campaign, but he flies all over the field. He's like your prototypical middle linebacker in that sort of sense. He's got the sideline speed. He's coming off an injury, and Bill Belichick has come out and said he'll be happy if he doesn't even play this season. They're just happy they've got him on the roster, essentially. He's going to be a developmental guy, and I could see him starting there in a couple of years' time, perhaps.
They do like to take Michigan front 7, don't they?
They love their Michigan boys. Yeah, they got Winovich, Uche, McGrone. They drafted Michael Onwenu last year at guard as well. They love their Michigan boys over there in Foxborough.
Yeah. I mean, if Belichick could basically form an entire roster out of Alabama and Michigan players, and a couple of Rutgers guys thrown in on special teams, he probably would.
There's 2 Oklahomas in this draft as well. 2 Oklahomas, 2 Alabamas, Michigan.
Nice.
But Willie Sherman as well, offensive tackle listed as, but he can basically play anywhere on the line. He said he's willing to play anywhere on the line. So that's
a sign he's not very good.
He'll do what he needs to do to get a paycheck.
From what I could see, he's very good at run blocking. Not his pass blocking, pass pro isn't.
Yeah, but who isn't at college?
Still... Right. Mate, calm your tits, okay? But then they finally addressed wide receiver with Trey Nixon, who I think was a good value pick for the 7th round.
Oh, you can't say the 7th round they're finally addressing wide receiver.
But I think he's genuinely probably going to get quite a bit of time on the field for a 7th round pick, because he tested.
They've hardly got anyone.
Indeed. Oh yeah, he had like a 44-inch vert, bloody 4.4. 4.44 40-yard dash. I don't know how legit either of those. Well,
probably not very.
You can't really fake the vert, to be honest.
You can't fake the vert.
It's a difficult thing to fake now.
Yeah, it's just.
It's you're wearing springy Air Max and just going for it. Vert's all ability. You can't.
Yeah, basically, they drafted a combine warrior in the 7th. Who's probably going to get quite a lot of play time. So yeah, I could genuinely see them making the playoffs this year in that AFC East division, and potentially getting somewhere. It all depends when Mac Jones comes in. To be honest, I think if they don't trust to put Mac Jones in early enough, then there might be some issues because we saw Cam.
I reckon
struggling.
he starts.
Do you think he starts?
I reckon he
don't think
starts
week one. I don't. Why?
I think it comes down to how much mind pace he's got. That's the thing. He ain't got foot pace, but if he's got that mind pace, then we're going to see Mac Jones early.
Has that mind pace. I will tell you now.
You reckon?
Does he?
I tell you what, yeah, he does. He reads the field pretty quickly. But the reason I think he'll start is because he's pretty pro ready in my eyes. And the offense last year was just unwatchable with Cam Newton. He's not the same QB. I think the sooner people realise that, the better for themselves. To be honest,
I will never give up on Cam Newton being an NFL starter again.
Really?
Really, never.
You, him, and his mum. You stay in that. You die on that hill.
We will. Yeah, no, you're right about the pro ready thing because that was the whole upside of Mac Jones, isn't it? That you draft him and he's ready to come in straight away.
Yeah, high floor.
Yeah.
Didn't they give Cam quite a decent contract though this year?
No, they paid him.
No,
they paid him nuts, mate. They
I
paid
thought it was last year they gave him nothing.
No, last year they also paid him nothing, but I think they paid him like $4 million or something this year.
Hey, you turning your nose up at $4 million?
I mean, I would happily take $4 million, but I don't know if I was a starter level quarterback. All right, he's paid $6 million this year.
Can you realistically see this team winning a Super Bowl?
Hell
no.
I wasn't asking you. I was asking Joe. They're my contending team.
With that defense, I could see them getting far. I'm just saying contender. I don't personally see them actually winning the Super Bowl, but I think from where we saw them last season, getting a good playoff run, potentially even surprising people and getting to the AFC Championship, I can see that happening.
And who knows, anything can happen there, as we all know.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got to put the Patriots tax on it as well in terms of like they could just do stupid good stuff because they're the Patriots and it figures. So I don't hate it, Joe. I mean, I do hate it, but
I also hate it, but it's just a fact, mate. I just looked at the draft and it's an A+ draft.
Yeah. Shall I go next to cheer Joe up a bit then?
Yeah, that's depressing. You go, Sam.
Yeah, I think the only reason Joe went with the Patriots is because he knew I was taking his Baltimore Ravens next, so it wouldn't hurt his pride that much.
I actually refused to take the Ravens. But
you did. No,
so
to be
great.
fair, in the group chat before this, you did.
Honourable man.
Putting message that, if anyone else wants them, I'll be happy to let them.
Please.
I mean, entering the draft, the three biggest weaknesses for the Ravens even, is wide receiver, shore up the O-line, especially after they let Brown go, and maybe replenish the pass rusher stock a bit, which they always manage to do every year anyway. They've always have a third-year breakout. Wide receiver, I think they smash out the park. Not only did they get Rashad Bateman, but they also got Tylan Wallace from Oklahoma State in the 4th round, which was a pretty great value pick.
That's a steal.
Yeah, and the similarities between these two guys is basically exactly what the Ravens have been missing for the last 2 years since Lamar Jackson's been their starter. Able to beat press coverage, able to win contested on the outside, and go up and get the ball.
Nice.
Yeah. Especially Tylan Wallace. Like, he's phenomenal at that.
Yeah, you know he's only 5'11".
I did not realise that he plays like he's 6'8".
And
it makes him look taller. Like
he's a gangly boy.
He's a
like
big old gangly boy.
Man.
No, because he doesn't look overly thin. So, but no, in Bateman they finally get a true X receiver. He's going to be able to win one-on-one consistently now.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's not going to be like Jalen Ramsey one-on-one, but in most games and matchups, he'll be able to do a job which they haven't been able to have. It's got to the place. It's like, right, you're a good team and you're up against the Ravens. Just put 8 men in the box and you'll sort of be fine. Maybe double team Mark Andrews occasionally just to slow him down a bit.
They always double team Mark Andrews.
You're not going to be able to now, especially now.
Don't have the liberty anymore.
Marquise Brown's going to be able to be moved over the formation and used like he should have been able to from when you drafted him.
Oh my God, Marquise Brown at X all the time.
Shit, man! If that guy can catch, then boy.
Yeah, and then you got Sammy Watkins, who, if he can stay healthy for 3 games, it's another weapon. So you got basically 4 receivers that could be cycled through now, which is a far cry from where they were this point a year ago.
Yeah, but you only ever see two of them on the field at one time.
Yeah, and to be fair, a lot of this is on Greg Roman needing to diversify that passing attack a little bit. But I like that Bateman and Wallace, for that matter, can move around, play as sort of those big slot kind of guys.
Yeah.
So, like Bateman made a living on RPO games in when he was at Minnesota, so should be able to see a lot of that. Then pass rush, that was addressed as well. You get a Daffy now away from Penn State, who's basically, if you're going to go to a team that's going to be able to take a physical specimen and turn him into a really great pass rusher, it's going to be Wink Martindale and the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
Like he'll be able to rotate in this first year. You got Dalen Hayes in the 5th round as well. I mean,
I don't know if he will rotate it when you look.
You don't think he'll play at all?
No, I think he's going to start.
You think he'll start?
Oh, the opposite. Okay.
I don't think we really have a choice. Like when you look, we've got Tyus Bowser on the other side
and Pernell McPhee. And you've been linked with like one of the vets. You're going to probably pick up one of like Justin Houston, Ryan Kerrigan, Melvin Ingram, who are all still free agents.
Wow.
I wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't be surprised if you got one of those 3. So in that case, you got 4 sort of guys that you're going to be able to.
I would like a nice veteran presence to actually teach Odafe.
I know you would
a little bit because I do.
I'm still getting used to calling him Odafe.
Yeah, I actually really like it. It's very.
Odafe's a cool name.
It's fucking awesome.
It's a good name.
Wish I could be called Odafe.
Odafe Costanzo.
Yeah, it doesn't really ring off the bell as much. Yeah,
I'm really tempted to edit your name on the thing now, but I'll refrain.
He's got the power. He's producer this episode, Sam. He's got the power.
Yeah. Owe is at a first glance, he's a bit like a boom or bust pick, people will say, just because of his production last season. And when I first looked at him, I was quite skeptical when we were doing our breakdown and everything. When we drafted him, however...
Oh, shockingly. Then you liked him, did you?
Then the wheels are turning.
Yeah, I just think he is still very raw, but...
Yeah.
I like his physical ability jumps off the screen, to be honest. And
yeah, just briefly touching. Just to briefly touch on that, just the whole like college stats idea as well. Like you've got to remember at college level, the QBs get the ball out awfully quickly, and that's what makes it really hard to get good sack production. Yeah. So I wouldn't let the sack number really put you off because college is a different ball game.
0.
Yeah, that's
0
that's what we were alluding to.
But he did get a fair amount. He got a fair amount of pressures.
Yeah, he got a ton of pressures just because they dump the ball off if he comes in.
Hey, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just pointing out.
Someone running at you.
0-0.
A 260 male running at you at approximately 50 miles an hour, then you'd probably get the ball out too.
Approximately 50, yeah.
I think those figures are exaggerated, but I take the point.
Yeah, and then I think the one position that they didn't really address as much as I would have liked in the draft is offensive line, especially the tackle position. But then you bring in Alejandro Villanueva, who's basically he's a solid guy. He'll do a job. He's not going to be Orlando Brown, but I'd also forgotten that they also picked up Kevin Zeitler as well this offseason. So then you draft
that's true.
Ben Cleveland, whose nickname apparently is the Mountain. I figured out today. And the shortest guy on that offensive line now is Kevin Zeitler, who's 6'4". So that's just a bit of a monster unit. So now that you've got guys that can win outside, you're going to be able to run the ball even more all over people. I don't think you're going to necessarily pass more than you have done over the last couple of years. Just the threat of being able to do so should play a factor.
I don't think it's going to be passing the ball more. I think it's just going to be running the ball better.
Yeah. Also, it's the fact that, remember the first couple of games last season, we were all like, oh, Lamar Jackson looks even better as a passer than he did in his MVP.
He did.
So,
for a bit. Everyone forgets because
everyone forgets someone else brought it up.
To drop every pass that came his way, but, for the first 3 games of that season, I was seeing stuff out of Lamar that just made me very excited, but...
So I like what they've done in strength. Basically, what the Ravens always do is they pick solid guys. They never draft badly. I don't know how, but you never come out of a draft and go, oh, the Ravens took a minus there.
Because they draft best player available.
Yeah, and they also address a number of positions of need. So they've got a pretty solid all-round looking roster. You got Sean Wade, who's pretty... I know he flopped when they moved him to outside corner at Ohio State, but he's a decent guy in the slot, and he won't even have
good.
Corner.
But then he'll sit and learn behind Tavon Young for a year or so. And then you also get the best, basically undrafted player in our Darius Washington out of TCU, the safety.
I love that pickup as well.
We need
his versatility is going to be great because you need guys that can do a lot on the back end with how much you like to blitz. So I think he's going to get
Matthew.
Yeah, he's going to get significant minutes this season. It wouldn't surprise me if the Ravens won the Super Bowl this year. I don't think they're the favorites, and we're obviously in that time of year where everyone looks great because no one's injured and no one's been on the field yet. But I think they've got to be in the top 4 or 5 favorites this year.
Oh my
God. That AFC is actually stacked now.
Do you like that, Joe?
Yeah.
Music
I ain't seen Joe smile like that in a while.
No, he's crying. He's welling up.
Yeah, he's crying. I'm glad I rushed home from work.
Oh my God, it was worth it.
Also, do you see how hot Villanueva's coming into the Ravens as well? He's talking about
firing at Juju.
Taking shots across the bow with Juju. He's talking about how much he loves run blocking. Like,
shut up.
Dude's fired up.
He's trying to get Juju next year.
Dude is fired up. Yeah, I like that pick.
Yeah, I like it. I like the smack talk.
Yeah, I like that all the O-linemen you brought in are just absolute maulers as well. That should be fun for your line.
Who needs finesse anyway?
I really like the Cleveland pick when I went back and looked at him a bit. He's
Ben Cleveland.
Big old boy. Can't move a fridge.
We're going
to have to put a limit on the number of times you're allowed to say that per episode.
I can't believe that I think we're going to... I mean, I wouldn't... even I'm not, thinking, we're definitely going to win the Super Bowl.
I don't think I said definitely going to win the Super Bowl.
I like to think...
You said he wouldn't be surprised there, Joey.
Every year. I'm very optimistic about this year, but... And again, I am very used to losing in the playoffs in recent years.
Oh, Joe.
Why don't you tell Stan what's that like?
Yeah, let me know. I haven't experienced playoffs in so long.
Hit him up.
What even is playoff football?
It's a myth.
Why are you laughing?
Don't worry about it. Hey, we got in the dance a few years ago. It didn't go well. We were there.
We were in attendance.
Exactly. Taking shots at me.
I love this, Sam.
Taking shots at you. What do you think of yours? 10
out of 10.
10 out of 10? Oh,
pretty
really?
Much,
funny enough, that went out well with you.
We're definitely going to win the Super Bowl.
I've convinced you.
Okay.
I've convinced you that
you heard it here first.
Calm down, Joe. He did not say you were definitely going to win the Super Bowl.
Joe's put a bet on it while I was talking.
Yeah,
100%.
He's taking that. I like it. Stan, pour some water on this man's Super Bowl hopes.
I'm going to pour some water on it. Some interdivision water on it. The Cleveland Browns. That's right. I'm backing the Browns this year. I love what Cleveland have done this offseason. I love what Cleveland were last season. And I feel like they were a few pieces away from being a competent team and being able to make a push for the playoffs. Look, we've seen the Steelers get weaker this offseason. The Ravens took a bit of a step back last season. This is their chance to pounce now, take the division, make the playoffs, and perhaps make a push in the postseason in January. And maybe they get a game in February in the Super Bowl. That's how serious I'm about these Browns. So just looking at their draft, their top 2 picks, they absolutely knocked out of the park. So round 1, they grabbed Greg Newsome, who played in the cover 3 scheme at Northwestern, so sort of Seattle style. Where did he go? Cleveland Browns. What scheme do they run? Seattle scheme. He's now going to play opposite Denzel Ward and probably rotate with LSU's Greedy Williams. So that defensive backfield will now be Denzel Ward, John Johnson, Grant Delpit, Greg Newsome, and then you've got Greedy Williams filtering in there as well. So
and Troy Hill at nickel.
And Troy Hill at nickel. So there you go. You've got a good defensive backfield now, much, much improved. And looking at the linebacking core, it's still slightly weak, admittedly.
Sure.
But they did bring in one of, if not the best defensive player in this draft, in Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah out of Northwestern. Notre Dame, I meant. So he's going to slot in. He's likely going to play will linebacker, maybe even strong safety if he gets the opportunity to. He's going to be he's going to play a massive role in tightening up that run game and basically, tightening up the big weakness that they had last season ever since Joe Schobert departed.
Covering tight ends.
Yeah. And moving slightly away from the draft, they did also pick up Jadeveon Clowney as well to add to that D-line. So they've now got Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney on the same D-line, which is going to do wonders for run support. I think we can all agree.
That is true. Yeah.
Also, just going back to that interior line as well, they've picked up Tommy Togiai out of Ohio State as well. He'll probably be a rotational defensive tackle in there with Andrew Billings, Jordan Elliott, Malik Jackson, guys like that.
Malik Jackson.
And another complaint about the Cleveland Browns we had last season is that obviously we weren't planning for it to happen, but Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, they faced injury problems and they kind of lacked some speed at the wide receiver position. So they pick up perhaps one of the quickest wide receivers in the draft outside of Waddle, Anthony Schwartz, Auburn. Quick slot guy, can really make plays over the top of a defense, stretching defenses, opening up the underneath. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to get a high snap count, but it's speed where they needed speed to appear. So I'm really happy with that pick as far as I'm concerned.
Sense. Isn't it sorry to interrupt, but wasn't it weird that after Odell went down, it looked like their receivers started playing a lot better last season?
I thought they struggled at the wide receiver.
I know. I think their offense has sort of clicked into gear because it was Stefanski's first year anyway, and they didn't have an off season. So I think it's going to naturally take a little bit of time to get into the groove with the whole new system. Yeah. So I don't think it's necessarily, Beckham's not here, he was the one ruining the chemistry.
No.
There was that narrative though, wasn't there? Of
course there was, because people love to hate people.
I did see a lot
especially Odell Beckham.
Yeah. I did see a lot of throw it to Beckham when he's not particularly open though. And then that when he isn't there. But
that's often something we see in young QBs. Then I don't think that was as true of Baker Mayfield last season. I thought Baker Mayfield did actually play quite well in places last season, and he looked like a really, really just top QB. Well, obviously, we're going to need to see some more consistency from him, but I'm willing to bet on that 100%.
Yeah, I think the fact is that this defense was a bottom 10 unit for the Browns last year.
True.
So looking at them on paper, they look like they're going to be decent, but they only really need to sort of be a top half kind of thing because the offense was so good, so consistent, and the offensive line's only going to get better with a year playing with each other.
And you got to remember as well, they got Grant Delpit healthy this year. They got Greedy Williams healthy this year. Both players who didn't really see much of the field last year. Just quickly going back to the draft before we move onwards. They also picked up a guy called Marvin Wilson out of Florida State. He was actually undrafted, surprisingly. Bit of a polarizing prospect. I think you either love him or hate him because 2019 he put up some of the best defensive tackle film in the country and would have been a first-round pick, I think, if he'd opted out. And then he went back to Florida State this year, and he put up some really quite horrific tape, to be honest with you.
I remember you putting on the group chat. The first thing you put when the draft was done was, "How did Marvin Wilson go undrafted?"
There you go.
Isn't
that
this
sums
the
up.
Guy where they changed Florida State's scheme a lot.
Yeah,
he moved from I don't know if he's a 3-tech, but he ended up just playing basically end.
Yeah, no, they did mess him up a bit. I think he played as sort of like a 3-tech, 1-tech kind of guy. I mean, I'd imagine he'd stay at 1-tech. Sorry, I'd imagine he'd stay at 3-tech. But it depends on the Browns scheme, I guess. And where they want him to go. So, and again in the draft, actually, Demetric Felton, guy I've spoken about in the podcast a bit briefly, receiving back / wide receiver, whatever you want to call him, UCLA, just absolute weapon. Chip Kelly had a lot of fun using him at UCLA in their spread style offense. Don't expect him to get a lot of snaps. He'd be like a fun guy they utilize out of different packages. He's one of your fun guys. You manufacture touches for them, give them the ball, and see what he can do, essentially, for one of a more eloquent way of saying it. Yeah,
fun is good.
It is good. Everyone loves a bit of fun.
So I rate the Browns.
I really rate the Browns. I was quite high on them last season as well, but the defense just let them down.
And the fact is that even when that defense was bad, they still had a deep playoff run as well. So it's not like they're going to be sort of unsure of themselves when they go into the playoffs this year.
And you're getting a better Baker Mayfield as well. You're getting Baker Mayfield another year down the line. He's going to undoubtedly be a better QB.
Who wins that AFC North?
I'd bet on the Browns.
We do tend to have the Browns number pretty much every year, though.
Just saying. The Ravens did beat them in that huge comeback when Lamar ran off to do a poo.
Yeah.
I forgot about that game.
I'm going to the locker room. Why? It doesn't matter.
Cramps.
I'll be cramps. I'll be back in a bit.
Yeah, who runs off the locker room for cramps anyway? So it's where you can just stretch out the side.
Who runs like that to the locker room?
So we could get treatment, Stan.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Why else? No, I do think the Browns have got a pretty good shot to win the AFC North. If I'm being honest, they've consistently drafted very well for the past few seasons now, pretty much since Baker Mayfield got taken. I think I really like the Greg Newsome pick. I don't like him so much as a zone corner.
That's literally what he did in college and why he's been drafted so highly.
That's why I don't like him as a zone corner. When I was watching Greg Newsome,
he's his own corner. He was drafted because he was his own corner and played in the same scheme.
He doesn't like him.
His scheme.
He's allowed to like different things
all the time, and he's okay as a zone. He's a good zone corner, but he's a fucking sick man corner. To be honest, when I saw him play man, he had a lot of the same stuff that we were kind of iffy about Caleb Farley, about like understanding routes and everything like that. He has that in the bag. So I do really like. He's a guy who can do both, but I really do prefer him as a man corner. To be honest,
to be fair, they've got the guys to play man.
Yeah, if you've got Denzel Ward opposite him, like Newton will never be on that X receiver.
Yeah, but you've got Denzel Ward, so
that's what I mean. What he's saying.
I just said that Newton will never be on the X receiver.
I don't know.
Don't need to be.
I could see it. Why are you saying never? How do you?
He doesn't have to be.
Because you've got Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
Well, although they might do that thing where they each stick to a side
of the field or what.
I hate that.
But yeah.
It depends.
Part of it comes down to I don't think they knew what they have as much in Greedy Williams with his injury concerns and everything.
Yeah.
But at Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah pick, I agree with Stan. I think he was the best defensive player in this draft, and they got him in the second round. His versatility is off the charts. I don't know if it's like people just being iffy about. Like,
it was a heart concern.
Isaiah.
There was rumors pre-draft that he had an issue with his heart medically, and then it turned out after the draft to not actually be an issue. He was cleared by doctors. But the brief hit where
Caleb Farley fell.
No, Caleb Farley fell because
Caleb Farley doesn't have a spine, bro.
Well, that's what I mean. Same reason they fell because of medical issues.
Would you rather not have a spine or not have a heart?
Also, Caleb Farley got picked.
They both have spines and hearts, so it's not really an issue.
And
I meant more metaphorically. Would you rather you guys didn't have a spine or didn't have a heart? Didn't play with heart.
Stan doesn't have a spine or a heart, so.
Well, Matt's got no spine because he picked his own team for this task.
Are we shuffling this along? We shuffling this 100%. Along? Okay.
I'm moving the file on someone else now.
Sleep, you've got that roster graphic.
Oh, you want the roster graphic up? Yeah, I'll get up for you, mate.
I just want us to see who we need to send those rings to. That's the thing. Make sure those dudes
scares me, Matt.
You happy,
Your
mate?
optimism scares me.
Hey, now look at this, boys. Here's a roster, is what I'm going to say. Here is a roster. You look at that wide receiver core, and you've got dudes that can legitimately catch the ball without dropping it now. And
Isn't that what every wide receiver?
That is not something you saw in South Beach very often.
I think he's referring to this guy over here.
Oh, that dude.
Oh.
You love Jakeem Grant.
Is that the same Jakeem Grant you love, Matt?
I love Jakeem Grant when he is standing in the end zone and about to catch a kicked footy. When someone throws it at him, it's like it's fucking dodgeball, man. He gets out of the way of that thing fast.
He had that one play, I think, against the Patriots where he absolutely...
He always has that one play. Doesn't have it consistently. But now we've got dudes that can catch. I love the Will Fuller pickup. I love the Jaylen Waddle selection. I didn't at the time.
You were a bit honest at the time.
I was not in a good place with that when it first happened. But
I thought you loved everything Chris Greer does.
I do love everything Chris Greer does. I went away and I looked at some Just Bombs production of Jaylen Waddle. Came back a new man. Like what sort?
So you watched the highlight tape of all his best plays. You're like, he's going to play like that every single play.
It was more like 4.5 minutes, Joe. I'll have you know. I love the Liam Eichenberg pick as well. I think he's a solid dude that is going to give some big time protection. If you slot him at right tackle straight away, he's going to get the job done. And then you can put Robert Hunt at right guard. You've got Solomon Kindley at left guard. If Matt Skura remembers how to snap a football, then we're quids in on that line. And then Jaden Phillips, I think, was a good pickup as well. I said this on Tuesday. If his head is okay, then that is a football player who's going to make a lot of plays.
On the subject of Phillips, do you think he plays a 3-4 end or a 4-3 back or a 3-4 backer?
I was thinking this the other day, because he's a big dude. I think you could put him as a 3-4 end if you wanted to. I think he's going to.
3-4
I
backer.
think he's going to be moved between the two a little bit, to be honest.
Nah,
I am a backer. He's going to have so much production.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're putting your strongest like team on the field, then you've got Ogba, Wilkins, and Davis in that front three, and then you put Jaden Phillips in that linebacker core. He's gonna cause some problems off the edge. And then
Phillips
you look.
Yeah, he'll be a backer 100%. They're not going to stick him with his hands in the dirt every single play.
Nah, it'd be a waste. Get him rushing.
Flores has you running a lot of that sort of 5 wide front anyway, doesn't he? So the back basically from the ground. Yeah,
he does some crazy things on that defense. And then you look at the back end. You got you got Byron Jones, shut down boy. You got Xavier Howard, just gets interceptions for fun. Added Justin Coleman, was a bit of an underrated.
He's a really good slot corner.
Yeah, that guy's good in the slot. So that was a nice pickup. It means Nick Needham doesn't get near the football pitch again, which I'm all here for. I think this
guy doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Bobby McCain.
Bobby McCain is now gone. But on a note, like Bobby McCain was a good player for us, like a solid player for us for a few years. He was part of Dolphins teams that sucked. And
I don't know who he is.
Well, you don't need to know who he is, Joey. But
not anymore.
He was an average safety who played with a lot of heart.
He played corner, yeah. To be fair, like just looking at his replacement as well, I know I was quite low on Javon Holland before the draft, but if there's anywhere that I like him, it's in Miami.
Yeah, boy.
Because they will use him creatively. They'll find out what he can do and stick him just to that role, like what they did at Oregon, really, and just like leaving him in the slot.
Do you see how excited Brian Flores was about Javon Holland as well? He loves that dude.
Brian Flores strikes me a guy that is 100% excited all the time. Matt, are we all right to get rid of this depth chart now? Because I'm aware that we should put our Brit Ball in Overlord's logo back up there. Now it's not covering my face.
We can get it back up there. Yeah, little comment here from Terrell Burgess. Dolphins improved a lot. They should definitely be in the playoffs this year. I hear you, Terrell. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. I mean, a lot of it, I'm not going to lie to you, chaps, a lot of it does rest on whether Tua is going to make that big leap next season. But I've been a Tua boy from the start. I'm going to say he does. He's got guys that can catch.
Of course you will. You always say that. You always back your boys no matter what.
You're a die-hard Fitzmagic fan for a while.
I was done. What else was there? What I'm gonna be up on Matt Moore. What do you want me to do, Joe? Just a guy. God damn it! You've got to back what you've got. Now we've got a Tua who I generally think, if he can get past the troubles last year in terms of not trusting, throwing deep and holding onto the ball a bit too long, I think can be, with the weapons that we've got now, we can genuinely be a problem in that division. I still think the Bills are going to win the AFC East. I'm not all crazy. I think the Bills are going to come out and win that division. But in terms of the Jets, I think are still a couple of years away from being legit. The Pats as well comes down to Matt Jones's mind pace, but I'm not scared of them as of time of recording. I was saying to you guys on the group chat as well, if we had a running back in there like Kerryon Johnson, who's recently been released, just hinting to Chris Greer there, then I think this roster's pretty set.
Your excitement behind the signing of Kerryon Johnson to the Dolphins, I don't understand why you're so hyped. Yeah,
it hasn't even happened yet, Steph.
I don't understand why you're so excited about it though.
Because this dude, he can run the football. We've got Miles. I liked Myles Gaskin last year, but he's not.
Took 50 carries the whole of last year, I think.
He's got some fresh tires on him, then, boy.
You're going to spin this however you want to make him sound like an amazing player, aren't you? I'm just going to give up now. There's no point in trying.
He was the first Lions running back to have a 100-yard game since 2013, so that says something.
Put some respect on Kerryon Johnson. He's a good player.
Carry on.
You add him to that backfield with Gaskin and Ahmed, then boom. And you've got Dokes in there as well now to be the power back.
None of these guys are actually competent, like high-level guys.
I didn't say they were, but
Myles Gaskin could be a fancy sleeper this year. I'm telling you.
I mean, he was fancy sleeper last year. If you collect enough very average running backs, do you eventually be able to run the ball?
Yeah, obviously run back by committee, hombre. Seem to remember taking you to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What's the furthest the Dolphins can go this year, realistically?
Oh, realistically,
Realistically, Matt,
first round of the playoffs.
I can see a couple of playoff games.
A couple
Couple of playoff games. Why not?
So,
Any given Sunday.
In the section that was built around teams that can now contend post-draft, you've picked a home team that even in your wildest dreams don't think could actually win.
you guys like, I'm going to pick another team that I'm not really fully into. I'm just going to go straight in with the Dolphins. I'm just going to.
No one was surprised that you picked the Dolphins.
You pick the Dolphins for every positive statement. I've just realised now that our colour scheme is based off the Dolphins.
Yeah, I snuck that in from the word go. Why do you think I opted to build the website, bro? Everything's teal. Surprised it's taken me this long to get it.
What about this?
We got another
comment from Terrell.
Atlanta Falcons improved a lot in the draft and with the undrafted free agents. That is true. It's a tough division. That is also true. I mean, what do you guys think of the Falcons this year? I think Kyle Pitts was a sick pick.
Yeah,
Kyle Pitts is going to wear number 8.
Kyle Pitts is going to
wear number 8. It's going to be so weird.
That is quite weird. Could we just go back to the Falcons draft as well, though? Because you've got Kyle Pitts in the first, Richie Grant in the second, which is a phenomenal pick.
I love Richie Grant.
Yeah, Jalen Mayfield in the third. I don't think that's being talked about enough.
Yeah, that was nice.
Offensive tackle out of Michigan. He was being touted as perhaps a first-round pick at some points in the draft process. The fact that he fell to the third round is just ridiculous, considering just how safe he was.
Also, just shows how deep this O-line draft really was when it comes down to it.
And also, you say it's a tough division, but let's be optimistic here. We don't know what's going on with the Saints. We don't know if Taysom's
I think the Saints still have a pretty good defense that they'll be competitive in games.
Yeah, defense can't put that many points on the board though. If Taysom can't throw the football, then you're going to be stuck. And then you obviously don't know what's going on with Russell Wilson.
Are you on board with what?
The Falcons.
Russell Wilson.
Well, yeah, I was going to start talking about Russell Wilson. But carry on anyway.
No, on the Falcons though, I do like the fact that they went basically best player available throughout the draft and pretty much consistently hit. So it's a start. I do think they're still a whiles away from being contenders anytime soon, but I can see them taking a step up.
I'd agree with you there. That I think they're on the rebuilding path. I just don't trust that defense to come up big in games. I mean, I know you guys like Richie Grant, but he can't do it all on his own. And there's not enough talent on that defense to consistently.
They lost.
He can do it all, but not all for everyone. Sorry, Joe. Sorry for offending you.
Yeah, they're going to be left with KZ and Grant at safety.
KZ's not a bad player.
I just think that D-line needs leaps and bounds to really get out of the rut that they're going through. And this
I don't think KZ's there anymore. It's Eric Harris, isn't it?
Yeah, he might have gone as a free agent, actually. My bad.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's been the same thing around the Falcons for a while now in terms of that offense looks fun and then they're just making it cricket scores every game, man.
It hasn't been fun since Shanahan left.
It's not you win Super Bowls. Yeah, since the incident. Don't talk about it. The Patriots game.
Don't talk about the event.
But yeah. Cool. Right. Well, I think that we're just about.
I think Matt's broken up. So
this week.
Wait. No, Matt, stop. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, please stop doing that. That's a great time for your. Great, mate. Awesome time for the audio to go. Do you want to try to do the outro again? Are you good now?
I'll allow him to speak. Give me a sec.
There we go. Am I back now?
Oh, you're still.
No, just kick him out.
No, let someone else do the outro. Joe, it's on you, mate.
Well, that's about all we've got time for this week, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. You can follow us on all your social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, @TheDropBack. You can catch up with our articles at thedropback.com or .co.uk, whichever you fancy. We are live on Thursdays every week, but we also have a show coming out on, I believe, Wednesdays, if that's correct.
Tuesdays. I've got that
Tuesdays
turnaround
nowadays.
Yeah.
Our turnaround is off the level. Insane. So yeah, just check us out. Check Britballing out. Thanks once again for letting us host another stream. It's been great fun. Thanks guys for commenting. Have Have I forgotten anything? Wasn't
That's
really
good.
expecting to do this.
The only other thing is that this stream will be available for a podcast. I'll get that ready for tomorrow. So if you missed any of it, it will be in audio form tomorrow for your, I don't know, for your journey to work. If you're
what a treat
walking from the bathroom to the toilet again, we don't know. All right, I think that's the end though now. So cheers, lads.
To the toilet.
Mate, just let it go. Just let it go. I meant to say bedroom. I made a mistake. You had to pull me up on it. We're going to end on that now, Joe, because you've upset me.
All right.
Thanks again for listening.
Peace.